What's going on, everybody? It's Kevin from Screen Squad, and who's ready for a House of the Dragon review? We're talking episode 3, The Burning Mill. Pretty good episode. Let's just get right into it. The Burning Mill episode is called that because of a massive battle that kind of takes place right in the beginning of the episode, but you don't get to really see that battle at all. You just see the aftermath, all the dead bodies. But the Brackens and the Blackwoods are two families caught in the middle of a really bad blood feud. They've hated each other for centuries, but it only got worse with either side pledging for either Aegon or Raniera. The Raniera faithful Blackwoods are led by sociopathical Benjicott Blackwood, who is completely crazy. Like, he's very, very crazy. He starts kind of just poking and prodding with the Brackens, and in the middle of them kind of like being like middle school bullies to each other, the scene just cuts to the end of a battle with the one Bracken guy with a sword through his throat, surrounded by thousands and thousands of bodies. You have no idea what happened. I mean, you know what happened, but again, no battle shown yet in the show, and this moment was kind of like, I don't know, man. 3 episodes in, I thought there'd be some kind of fighting already, and the fact that they just kind of cut right through it, it's just like, kind of, to me, defeats the purpose of the show and what it's supposed to show. But I guess, I don't know, it left pretty much everybody dead, and the two families are just destroyed. I don't really think anybody survived that battle, but I guess we will find out. Gwaine Hightower, a name we haven't heard yet. He is Alicent's brother. He arrives to King's Landing on horse and pledges his sword to Sir Criston Cole's cause, which Sir Criston Cole was planning on getting a group of soldiers, well, a whole army, really. And was planning on getting a whole army together and riding to all these different strongholds on the way to Dragonstone to capture all of them and convert them to the Green's cause. Aegon wants to go with them, but initially he says he wants to send Aemond and Vhagar to just make it easy and really no struggle if you send the biggest dragon in the realm. To which his council advises him that Vhagar needs to stay here and protect the city. And he goes, fine, I'll ride out on Sunfire. And then they're like, well, that's also not smart because you're the king, and God forbid you die. Then this whole thing is for what? You don't even have an heir anymore. Your kid was killed. Which we'll get into that a little bit more as we go. But Aegon gets convinced by Lord Larys Strong to not go. Basically, Larys says that there's people in King's Landing and the Red Keep that are talking about Aegon not being a viable king, that he shows weakness, yada, yada, yada. And what would that show if the king just rushes headstrong into a battle, leaving everybody else to deal with the outcome? So he holds back, takes his soldiers or members of his Kingsguard with him to go drinking at a whorehouse, is what it is. Damon arrives at Heron Hall. It's a stormy night. Damon lands on the top of the castle, dismounts Caraxes, goes through each of the halls of the castle with a sword drawn, ready for a fight. And there's really like nobody there. And for it being the taking of Heron Hall, I thought for sure there'd be a bit of a fight there. There really wasn't any. He goes through the halls, and then he comes across the dining hall, opens the door to see Sir Simon Strong and a couple other people, like women. I think those are his wife and his kids and all that. And Simon Strong literally just stands up, goes, I know who you are, I know what you're here for. And he drops down on a knee and immediately swears fealty to Raniera Targaryen and her cause. and and Damon's just kind of standing there like, okay, like I was supposed to fight you people, but doesn't really get to do that. And he starts talking to Simon Strong, who has no love lost for his nephew, Laura Strong, who's the clubfoot, walks with the cane, he's kind of like the Littlefinger of this show. That's what I'd call him, just not as cool as Littlefinger was. And Simon, once again, he says, I'm with you. Whatever you need, take the castle. It's the biggest castle. It's yours. It's the only castle that could house a giant army. And Damon's like, all right. Goes off to a bedroom and doesn't quite fall asleep, but he has this like weird dream of, he just wakes up, thinks that there's fighting at his door, like banging on the door. He unbars the door, opens the door. There's nobody there. He then carries on out into the hallway and goes back into the main hall to where he sees a woman with blonde hair sitting in a chair. And the woman's talking to him. And she turns around and it's young Raniera, played by Millie Aegon. And what she's doing is she's sewing the head back onto the body of the baby Jaehaerys. A little creepy. Slightly creepy. Damon is forced to wake up. And he wakes up next to a tree. One of the weeping, whatever they're called, the tree with the face. And turns around and sees Alice Rivers, who is the Witch of Heron Hall. She will be known to be the Witch of Heron Hall. She has vague powers similar to like seeing visions like Helena Targaryen or Melisandre from Game of Thrones. And she tells him that he will die at Heron Hall. Which is kind of, if you know anything about any of this, then you know what actually happens to Damon. And he does, in fact, die at Heron Hall. But then we cut back to King's Landing, where Aegon's now at a brothel with his Kingsguard, drinking, and then he tries to get the one member laid. And he's going curtain to curtain, and you see some stuff I never thought we'd see in a show like this, but you see some stuff. And then he gets to the final curtain, because he wants to give basically the best woman in that place to this guy. And he opens the curtain and he sees his brother Aemond completely naked being coddled by this woman. And he just starts making a joke of it all. Basically bullying Aemond. And you could tell Aemond, as fierce of a warrior as he is, has this side of him that's very vulnerable and weak, if you will. And it's real weird because these two brothers are supposed to be like this, going into a war, you know? And here's Aegon, not taking anything seriously, getting wasted, and then bullying his younger brother, who could honestly kill him in a heartbeat. And it's been well documented that Aemond would rather he sit the throne than Aegon. But is loyal to the family, that's why he hasn't done anything about it. And the fact that he's got the largest dragon, you'd think not having the biggest dragon, you would kind of be nicer to the person who does have the biggest dragon. That's just me. And then we cut back to Raniera, who's sending her young children, Joffrey, Aegon, Viserys, with Rhaena, her stepdaughter niece. And she's sending them all to Pentos to somewhat safer shores. And along with them, she sends a catch of 4 dragon eggs. Now, if you watch this episode, 3 of them eggs look familiar. It was confirmed by the director that 3 of those eggs are in fact Daenerys' dragons from Game of Thrones. Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. The red egg, the green egg, and the yellow egg. However, that 4th egg, I'm not quite sure on. I'm sure it hatches. during the show or at some point. But yes, those in fact were the 3 dragons featured in Game of Thrones, which I thought was a pretty cool moment, you know? It to me it keeps the shows connected in a way. Like they don't necessarily need to be, but like throwing that in there, because obviously where did those eggs come from in Game of Thrones? They had to have been sitting around for a couple hundred years before they hatched, which means that catch of eggs came from Syrax, which is Raniera's dragon, which I guess means that Drogon and his siblings are the children of Syrax. I love that. Syrax is a great dragon. She did kind of stop growing and is still fairly small. But Drogon is one of the coolest dragons ever. He's huge. I mean, he's not the biggest by any means. Like, Vhagar is double his size. But Drogon is a hell of a beast. I mean, he took down a whole army in Blackwater Bay by himself. Next, we got Sir Crispin. Sir Crispin Cole. He's leading his army of men to begin taking over these strongholds on the way to Dragonstone. And Sir Gawain Hightower decides to go off and find an inn for the evening, relax, have some drinks. And Sir Crispin Cole rides up on him in the middle of an open field. Now, if you remember what I said about last week, Baela Targaryen was sent on her dragon Moondancer to watch over King's Landing, make sure nobody left, and all the comings and goings so she could report back what their military movements are. She sees a group of men on a horse in an open field. Swoops down, gets real close to him, chases him into the woods, and realizes that it's Criston Cole and his army. Do I think she would have, if she would have caught up to him in time, I think she would have killed him. 100%. Even though Rhaenyra told her not to engage, she technically didn't. But I think if they didn't get into the woods fast enough, that Moondancer would have messed him up. By the way, Moondancer is a really cool looking dragon. I can't wait to see if she does get bigger before she dies in this fight. But I absolutely loved it. And you could just see Sir Gawain Hightower shitting his pants that he almost just got killed by a dragon. And then Criston Cole looks at him in the woods and goes, "No fucking inns. Like, you're not going to inn and exposing us any more than you already have." It's just, it was really funny to see Criston Cole kind of get pissed off and scared that he was about to get killed by a dragon. Rhaenyra, still trying to find a way to make peace, is alerted by Baela, who then returns to Dragonstone and informs them of Criston Cole's movements. And her whole council's still trying to argue and basically tell her, like, it's time for war. We gotta fight. And she reluctantly is more like, yeah, okay, let's, a few more days. And then she goes to Damon's Master of Whispers, that woman. Can't think of her name again. Don't hate me. And she requests a way to sneak into King's Landing. Rhaenyra then finds a way to get snuck in as one of the nuns of the High Septon. Because she knows Alicent goes to that big church and lights the candles and prays. So she gets snuck in and she sees Alicent walking in. And she walks in. Alicent starts praying. Who comes up next for her to light a candle and pray? Rhaenyra. The meeting starts off actually pretty funny. Because Rhaenyra just pulls a blade immediately. Like, you scream, I'll kill you. And they both then she realizes, not off to a hot start here. Let's put this away and just talk. She starts talking to her former friend. She just wants to find a way to end this conflict without any further bloodshed. The two women have a very intense conversation. Alicent pretty much says too much damage has been done already to change anything. And when I say too much damage has been done, I'm talking on both sides. Aemond killed Lucerys. Damon had a baby killed. Like, a lot of blood, unnecessary blood, has already been shed. And she basically says too much damage has been done already by both sides to just resolve and carry on. She also tries to iterate that Viserys changed his mind and said he wanted his son Aegon to be king instead of Rhaenyra. When Rhaenyra asks her what her father actually said before, like when he was on his deathbed and he was rambling, Alicent states that Viserys called Aegon the prince who was promised. And that moment just kind of like catches Rhaenyra off guard. She's like, wait, he told you about the Song of Ice and Fire? And it quickly reminds Alicent that it was a story told by Viserys about Aegon the Conqueror's dream, the Song of Ice and Fire, about the prince who was promised named Aegon who would save the realm, or unite the realm against the threat in the north. And the look on Alicent's face when she realizes that she just made her son king based on a story of someone else, and they both kind of share that look like, oh shit, it's a little late though. And Alicent just keeps saying it is too late. Nothing can be done. There's really nothing else to do but accept the fact that war is here. And Rhaenyra, she has exhausted every other outlet, every avenue as far as avoiding a conflict before getting to this point. Alicent leaves her, and she's left to just sit and think and realize that the Dance of Dragons is officially upon us, with the next episode actually being called A Dance of Dragons. And I haven't seen the trailer yet. It looks pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch it right now.
Only weeks ago, my lord husband was alive, and the realm was at peace. You might be half the king your father was.
Tread carefully.
Or what?
All who refuse will have their death. You afraid, sir?
Worse, I'm rational.
My father believed that I was meant to unite the realm. I needed to know that there was no other path, and now I do.
Hold to your courage! Hold to your wit!
I must send the dragons to war. The horrors I have just loosed cannot be for a crown alone.
So, I want to back it up a little bit. I just want to back it up. Is it here?
Hold to your wit!
I must send the dragons to war.
Right there. She says we must send the dragons to war, and she now realizes what she has to do to win this conflict. From here on out, it's going to be just crazy. Balls to the wall, just fighting. And after 3 episodes of, setting up, even though like season 1 was pretty much all set up. There was, I think, one massive battle in season 1, and that was Damon taking on the crab feeder. And but this is it. The Dance of Dragons is officially here. It looks insane. Like, let's just finish that trailer again.
The dragons to war. The horrors I have just loosed cannot be for a crown alone.
The horrors I have just loosed cannot be for a crown alone. That's intense. Like I said, I think most of next episode is going to be a battle. And with the pace the show's been going, that's perfect. We are beyond ready for that. As fans, I think it's been a long time since we've seen a proper Game of Thrones style battle. Especially with dragon. We've never seen a fight with dragons like this. Like when Daenerys would show up, it's one dragon against an army of men. We've yet to really see dragon on dragon warfare, which in the books and everything else has been labeled as terrifying and horrific. And it's finally time to get to that point. I know the whole story goes from here, but that's just what it is. It's the world the show's built in. I am so excited for episode 4. It is, like I said, in fact, titled The Dance of Dragons. I'm excited about it. In other news, from season 3, I don't know if any of you ever seen From. I struggled to watch season 2 because I couldn't find it anywhere to watch. Recently found it, and I freaking love that show. Season 3 should be coming out fairly soon. Second season premiered on April 23rd, 2023. Let's see if there's anything on season 3. There's an official release window. Updates on the return of the show have been scarce, but actor Harold Perennial, who plays Boyd Stevens, hinted at an imminent announcement regarding season 3 and assured fans they won't be disappointed. The official teaser for season 3 confirmed a vague fall 2024 window, which, I mean, that comes as no surprise, as filming for season 3 finished in December 2023. And the season 3 trailer shows a change of seasons within the world and continued hardship that Boyd tackles, teasing that the nightmare will continue. It's also being speculated that the woman screaming in the trailer is Fatima, who may be giving birth. As we found out in season 2, she is pregnant. As From enters its 3rd season, viewers anticipate the unraveling of key mysteries, including the significance of the cicadas, which I hate cicadas. So the fact that they are using them as a kind of form of fear in this show, it's crazy. I don't like it. We find out that Alice's words, Boyd returns to the rooms and destroys the music box, freeing the prisoners from their comas, which is cool. And now we're just left to wait to season 3. I know it's been a long ride since season 2 ended. And I know numerous people that I've talked to that are beyond anxious and anticipating when season 3 is going to come out. If you haven't checked out the show From, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. You need to go check it out. But besides that, that's going to do it for my House of the Dragon episode 3 review. Stay tuned next week for an episode 4 review. It's going to be a big one. As always, I'm Kev from the Screen Squad. Have a good day.
Damn.